Hello everybody and welcome to the second video that we're doing in our series for the Duchenne Siblings Network on, well, the series is Sibling Spotlight. And yeah, as we explained in the last episode, it's kind of the Duchenne journey. Often the spotlight can be away from siblings sometimes. So yeah, we just thought we'd kind of shine it on siblings for this series and chat with siblings in the community and share our stories, hear different stories, and perhaps learn from each other. This week, we're joined by Lauren. Lauren, how are you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
Good, good. Yeah, and Hazel as ever.
Hi.
So, Lauren, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm Lauren, I'm 28, I live in Manchester. My younger brother is 19, almost 20, and he has Duchenne. We're very close. There's quite a big age gap between me and Liam. There's 9 years. But, he's my best friend. I think everyone says that about their brother, don't they? But he is definitely my best friend, 100%.
Oh, that's amazing. In fact, I'll start by saying that just because you mentioned that, I did see, it came up on my Facebook the other day, a post that he'd written on your wall, like saying, I can't wait to see you at the weekend. And then I liked it and I was like, that's real nice. And then I realized it was from 7 years ago and you put a comment like, remember when you were nice to me? I thought that was brilliant.
I don't get any nice stuff like that anymore.
I can imagine. Yeah. What would you have been? 13 at the time?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
That's quite cute. So how are things between you? There is quite an age gap. So, and with the Duchenne diagnosis happening, not immediately in a child's life. How old were you when he was diagnosed? When Duchenne first came into your life?
So I was 13. I think it was in year 8 or year 9 at school. Liam was just turned 5. So my mum and dad had always my mum noticed that there was something not quite right about Liam. Originally she thought that, maybe one of his legs was longer than the other, something like that. And then she obviously took him to the doctors and things just spiraled from there, really. So I always sort of knew there was something different about him, but it wasn't until we actually got the diagnosis. I think it was really quick. I think it was a really quick turnaround. I think it was only a couple of days.
Wow.
It was very, very quick. And I know I was talking to my mum before this and she was sort of saying she knows a lot of people waited months for their diagnosis. But my mum was like, super, super quick. I think literally the Monday they went for an appointment and then she was told that they were told at this appointment, her and my dad, that it looked like it was a form of muscular dystrophy. Well, they just said the word dystrophy. And then they said that, I think they took bloods and then they said that you'd wait for this phone call. And my mum was telling me before, she said she was waiting for this phone call. But back then it was like a flip phone and she had the flip phone open. And so this phone call was supposed to be coming through, but because it was open, the person trying to get through was just engaged. So she'd waited all afternoon waiting for this phone call, realised at 7 o'clock at night that there was no one could get through to her. And I think it was the next day that, I think the doctor maybe phoned her that night and said someone will phone you in the morning. Then in the morning, she had an appointment around at the hospital and they just sort of said, it's Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So it just went from there. I remember my mum picking me up from school and Liam was in the back and I was like, oh, how did the appointment go? And that was that. Then they just told me there and then. And, it was heartbreaking at the time. It still is. It's one of those things, but it's something that just sticks in your mind, how they tell you, how your parents tell you. That's just something that's always stuck with me. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things for parents, isn't it? Like telling their children that their siblings got Duchenne. Definitely.
How did that? Sorry, I was going to make a joke there about that. It must have been a long time. That it shows you've lived a long time with that diagnosis because flip phones. No one has flip phones anymore.
Flip phones.
But I'll just jump on that point that you made. Like, that's really interesting that you were of an age that you can actually remember. It's an interesting age because you were still a child, but it's an age where you can still apparently, seems like you can still very much remember it. Also, it seems like you were told a lot of it all at once, if that was the case. How do you feel looking back at that? And do you think, I don't know, do you think it's a good way to do things?
Yeah, because it's all at once. Me and my family, we don't pussyfoot around things. It is as it is, and obviously it's hard, but we get on with it. And this was the biggest thing that's ever happened in my family. And it was at that time, and it was, I don't know, it was difficult. I've lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No, it's a good answer. So I'm guessing, I get the impression, obviously you said that you're really close to your brother. Are you really close with your parents as well then?
Yeah.
And were you close with them back then as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think me and my mum are very alike but very similar as well. No, sorry, very alike but very different at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think growing up, maybe we butted heads a little bit, but she's my best friend. Like she's my mum. Like she's amazing, and so is my dad. We are very, very close. Like I moved out in January last year, and I literally moved around the corner. Like I've not moved far at all. I don't think I could. I'm a home bird, and like I think we were discussing a few weeks ago. When I went to uni, I literally stayed for a year, and then I came home because I couldn't be away. I hated it. I don't even think I stayed a year. I think it was 6 months, and I came back home and I commuted every day. Then I couldn't do it. I was home every weekend, but we're very close family, and that's just how it is. I'm a home bird. I like being close.
In terms of then sort of your journey with kind of Duchenne, do you, I don't know, how did you adapt from the age of 13? Like, do you seem, a lot of people that I speak to seem to talk about their life before Duchenne entered and then their lives after, whether they're parents or siblings or people with the condition. Do you see things like that?
I don't know really, because obviously I was an only child for 9 years, so as soon as Liam came along, that was different. And then 5 years later, again, we got this diagnosis again. So, yeah, it was different, but it was what it was.
Do you think that being older definitely helped you then, not just helped you sort of come to terms with the condition, but also it sounds like helped you sort of adapt to all the practicalities that needed sort of adapting to?
Yeah, I think it definitely made me mature. At 13, it definitely made me mature and grow up a little bit. I was really lucky because I've got a really, really good group of friends. So my group of best friends at school are still my best friends now. So they've been through everything with me, and my ups and downs. They've been there for me through everything. And we're still as close as we are now as when we were at 13. So I think having them at school, that did help me in that respect as well. I remember when we got the diagnosis, I think it was right before Easter, and I think it was like halfway through the last week of term, and my mum and dad were just like, let's have a bit of time off, let's get our heads around things. And then I remember them telling me that my form teacher had sort of announced this to the class, that my brother had been diagnosed with this illness. Obviously he didn't go into much detail, but I think people had a bit more, I don't know, I wouldn't say that they maybe matured, but when I came back into school, it was a bit different. People did treat me a bit differently. Maybe weren't as harsh. Do you know what I mean? Like kids are kids, aren't they? When you're 13, but they were a little bit less harsh on me. So it was just easier, really. Everyone sort of understood. I went to a Catholic school as well, so I was offered counselling at the school.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that because from the limited experience of talking to people and meeting people, like that offer of assistance of emotional and mental support, it doesn't exist unless you ask for it, and most people ask for it when they're a lot older. So the fact that it was offered to you at a younger age is quite rare. I haven't had many people come across that.
Yeah, I think I only had one session. I think something might have happened in lessons. So we had a lot of RE lessons. So when sort of topics came round about things happening for a reason and it was God's will and things like that, that was when I flipped and was like, no. And then I think that was when I got offered the counselling slots and things like that. But it was a strange time, but I think being at that age, being at 13 and going through school with all the same people, my best friends, going through college, I think that did really help with me coming to terms with everything that was going on.
I really like the sound. It sounded like you said you had some time away from school and life and everything after you found out. Was that like a holiday with your brother and your parents, or?
We literally I think we just spent time at home,
Wow.
I think Liam had a few appointments and things like that. So it was just like getting to know the different doctors.
And you didn't have to go into school?
No, I didn't go to school.
Oh, wow. I think we can put together a sort of a package here. This is, that sounds like something that, I like, on a serious note, it actually sounds like something that would have been really beneficial, because as well, as you say, that while you're away, your kind of teacher explained why you're away, and then so it was normalized inside your circles, and then it was normalized for you, and you also had time to come to terms with it. I don't know. I think that would have, knowing lots of families, I think that sort of thing could be really beneficial, and it certainly sounds like it was for you. I don't know, Hazel, did you have any of that sort of? Not in the 1990s.
No. but then I think everyone's experience is different.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I think I didn't have time off school or anything, but I mean, I don't know if everyone gets to have like a 2-week holiday every year, but we had a 2-week holiday every single year. And it was always centered, it was always camping. So it was always like wheelchair friendly. And it was always, so all of those stresses, I guess, that you have that incorporated into day-to-day life when you're on holiday, they're still there, but it's holiday, so it doesn't matter so much. So I can kind of get where you're coming from, but to have that break from just everything in life is amazing.
Yeah.
And really that must have been quite a thing for your parents to do that, because I'm guessing they had time off work and stuff as well, and all that kind of stuff.
It was the shock. I think it was just that shock of getting the diagnosis and it being so quickly, that we all just needed time to process, and to understand and to read and read up on things and get the help that we needed.
Because I think so that's actually just sort of hit a point in my mind that I often see with people, is that often when I first speak to kind of newly diagnosed families, there is with a lot of them this kind of urgency, this kind of, oh my gosh, I've got to be working at a million miles an hour, I've got to be finding out about everything and running this and doing this. And what I always say to people is just, take time, slow down, calm down. You're not going to change the world overnight. You can't change the world overnight. You shouldn't feel like you should. You shouldn't feel like you have to. And I don't think it helps, or a lot of the time it can be sort of bad for the mental health or emotionally. And it sounds like your parents just did that almost sort of naturally and organically. So yeah, I don't know. Go you.
Yeah. Fitzpatrick family rules. It's great. I think it's such a great idea to just say, do you know what? Screw it. We need time to deal with this, and we're going to take the time. And they allowed you the time off as well, which I think is great. So they were obviously aware of the fact that whatever they were going through, you must have been going through your own emotional processes with it. So yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea, because like you said, there's families out there. And it's like a punch to the face, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you don't get the time to deal with it, because like you said, the hamster wheel starts going, and then that's it, you're on it and you don't stop. So yeah, good for you.
Have so like throughout your time, I don't know, it sounds like that kind of attitude and philosophy has kind of shaped you as your, as you through your journey as a sibling. Have you kind of taken everything methodically, step by step, in the years as you've grown with your brother?
Yeah, I think so. You just take each day as it comes, don't you? We've tried to sort of lead as normal a life as possible for Liam. We wanted Liam to have all the experiences. He did everything. We wanted him to have tried everything. And yeah, again, that came with his age, and luckily I was older. I can remember, him doing his swimming lessons and doing his hydrotherapy and, playing actual football and then converting into power chair football. I remember all of that, and it's something that you cherish, isn't it? You cherish those memories, and that's why I am glad that I am older than him, so that I can remember that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Tell us a bit about your brother and his power chair football. So you mentioned something there about him transitioning from playing football to then playing power chair football. Like,
Yeah.
how was that?
He tried football. He tried football when he was younger, and the team he was on, I think it was only short. It wasn't a long time. And then obviously Liam got his first power chair. I can't remember how old it was. I think he was maybe 10. And then we heard about this power chair football, and that was it. That was him. He needed a power chair football chair, and he needed to go off and he needed to try it. And he went and he absolutely loved it. He's been playing for years now. He plays in the Premiership, and he absolutely loves it. And it's a proper community. On his team, there's 3 boys with Duchenne as well. And then it's all different. There's all different disabilities there. But some of his closest friends have Duchenne and are on the same team as him, so it's great. It's a proper community. We love it. We're all involved in it.
Oh, that's really good. What's the name of his team?
Sale United. So the company, the team's Sale United, not the team. The what do you call it? The
Team. Are they not a team?
So the company and then the teams.
Oh,
What do you call that?
The league.
No, I can't.
The the team.
Yeah, so there's the team, and then there's the Premiership team, and then there's the Championship teams. And so the umbrella is Sale United, and Liam picks the Manchester United power chair football team.
Okay. Oh, nice. Oh, it's really good, because I certainly saw similar with my brother. Growing up, we'd play a lot of football together, and then as he stopped being able to play so much, we kind of found teams to support. He was into Manchester United at the time, my team, but then he wandered to Liverpool and other teams. I can't vouch for his allegiance these days, but we actually found a home in Stockport County Football Club back in the day, and I used to be disability liaison officer and in this sort of disabled supporters club when I was 14, and we'd go there and support, and it was a really sort of interesting path to sort of that journey that he was on, because at the same time through there he got into not power chair football but boccia, the sports that's a bit like bowls, and he'd go and play with those guys every week, and I'd do a bit of refereeing with him, and it is wonderful, because I think that, again, it's just a sign of how when people first get told about Duchenne, you think of all the bad things, but there are actually lots of sort of really sort of wonderful paths that it can take you on, aren't there?
Yeah, definitely. That's something that's really sort of makes Liam as how positive he is. He loves it, and that's something that is a huge part of his life. I definitely recommend it for anyone who's siblings, and just get involved, take them down to a session near them, because it's done Liam the world of good. He loves it.
I keep telling Andrew, to get into power chair football?
Oh,
One day.
yes.
Are things still going ahead with COVID, coronavirus? Is it?
We're just waiting for the go ahead. Really, there's things in motion at our club. That's the word. There's things in there's things in motion at our club at the moment. You know, for getting different steps. They have a weekly team meeting every Thursday, so they'll be on that now. You know, preparing for the because it's all like systems, and it's all like different passes, and so they're having strategy talks and all that at the moment, ready for the, you know, the season coming up. So yeah, it's still all in go. They've all kept in contact during lockdown, and we've done things like bingo nights and quiz nights, so it's been really good.
Nice. Well, that's really good. So in terms of like sort of your journey as a sibling, I don't know, I'd suggest in terms of like pieces of advice that you could give. It sounds like you've given us enough advice already, but like for someone who's like 19 or 20, if you look at you nearly, you know, 8-9 years ago, I don't know, I feel like those can be tough times for an older sibling, because those are times when the younger sibling might be going through stages of their life and meeting new milestones that can be difficult. You know, I don't know, is there any piece of advice that you'd give, or the things you'd say to yourself back then, or was it just all fantastic because your parents are amazing and you've got a great philosophy?
I don't know. So when I was like sort of 18, 19 and Liam was a lot younger, you know, I used to get quite angry because I didn't feel like people understood, and, you know, people would pick on him at school and things like that. So I would maybe just say for people who are going through something similar with their siblings, just, you know, it doesn't last forever. You know, it's and, you know, just be there for your sibling. It doesn't last. That stage doesn't last forever. That's what I would say. And again, just take every day as it comes, cherish the memories, cherish everything, every moment. That's what we do, you know, do everything. You know, I've got Liam coming out for, well, when pre-lockdown, we were going out for drinks, because Liam had just turned 18, he could go out, so he was coming out for drinks with me and my friends. You know, just get them involved in everything, try and give them as many experiences as you can. That's what I would say. I
think it is resilience, isn't it? Resilience that kind of is bred in you as well. Hazel, your thoughts on that?
I agree, yeah. I think you've got, you know, if they're capable of going out and doing these things, then get them out and get them doing these things, you know. So yeah, Lauren, I'd actually like to move on and talk about you a little bit, and discuss kind of what you do now. So you mentioned earlier that you went to university. So was that to pursue a career? What do you do?
So I'm a maths teacher at a secondary school. Actually, the school that I teach at is the school that Liam went to. And I remember when I had my interview, Liam was in year 11, and I went for my interview that day, and I saw him and I said, "Hi, Liam," and he went, "Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me at school." He was like one of them, like, "Don't talk to me." And then so then I got the job, and he left to go to college, and I started in September, so we never actually crossed paths, but I do teach at the school that he went to.
Oh wow! And how do you find that, like, sort of the work-life balance? Because obviously you have a life that's very different to the average normal life. So how do you find that? How do you work that?
I think teaching is very hard, but I think you've just got to make time. You've got to make time to live your own life, and you've also got to make time for your family. You've got to make time for your friends. You've just got to do it. You've got to prioritize sometimes. And I know that's really harsh, but you do have to say, you know, guys, I'm not coming out with you tonight. I'm staying at home with my brother. I'm not seeing him for, you know, a few days or whatever. So I just tend to prioritize, really. I think that's the only thing that you can do. It is quite stressful. You know, teaching is quite a stressful career path, and it's hard work, and I do a lot of work sort of outside of school hours. But at the same time, it's the best thing that I ever did. I loved it. I love it. And you know, it's something, I think I always sort of say, like, that's the one part of my life that I absolutely love. Like, that's me. That's something that I've done, that I've built up. That's
purely Lauren.
Yeah, that's me. And so I think you just find the time, and you find the strength to sort of be able to balance everything. And sometimes if you need a bit of time on your own, you just need to turn everything off and shut the door, and that's that, don't you? And I do that sometimes as well. I have a weekend to myself every once in a while. And I think you need it sometimes. You need to, what's the word, rejuvenate.
Oh yeah.
As a sibling, I think it's more important than anything else.
Definitely.
Because you constantly give out all of your time and your care and your love, and you're giving everything, and it's exhausting. And it's not until, and sometimes you can just run on empty and become a master at doing that. And then, but actually, if you can actually consider yourself within your life's routine, it will go a massive way to helping you out. As someone who didn't do that and doesn't do that very well, you're doing a really good thing there. So I commend you for that, because it's not easy for siblings to do. I think we struggle to do that.
Even then, your brain doesn't stop ticking, does it? It just doesn't stop. It never stops. It's constant. And I know I'm coming off as being very, positive and things like that, but there are times when it just doesn't stop, does it? You're constantly thinking towards the future and what's going to happen and X, Y, and Z. But sometimes you just have to put those thoughts to one side and get on and enjoy what's the current situation and enjoy what's going on.
How do you get that balance mentally and emotionally? Does it just come naturally, or do you have to kind of go through things sometimes to kind of think, okay, yeah, I don't know, in terms of like feeling obliged that you should be doing more, or that you're not doing enough, or maybe feeling like you need more rest, or I don't know, do you go back and forth to try and find balance?
Yeah, definitely. I think since 13, when Liam was diagnosed, I think I've always sort of struggled with mental health side. I've been to counsellors, I've been on different medication, X, Y, and Z. I just think it's just finding what's right for you. And I'm not 100% right, and I don't think I ever will be.
No one is.
No, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Really, it's just it's a hard one. I feel like it's just something that we have to deal with. It's not something that is manageable sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
It's unfair, but my dad used to say the best thing to me, because I used to say that it's not fair, and he used to say in the most caring, sympathetic way he could, he went, "Darling, life isn't fair."
Yeah.
And I'll always remember that, because he tried to, when you're giving this situation that's just so crap, really, and you do make the best of it, and you can live a good life and a happy life, and it can be a positive experience as well as a difficult one. But it isn't fair. But that, life isn't. No one has an easy life, really. It's just we get lumbered with this.
Yeah, I always remember a teacher at schools, when I was, not right, I always remember saying to a teacher at school, why us, like, why my family? And obviously I went to a Catholic school, and they sort of said, God gives these lives to people that they think can handle it. And also it was something along those lines.
God always gives the back for the burden.
Yeah, so it was like, God gives this to people, to the strongest people. And at the time I was thinking, God, like I'm not strong. What are you talking about? But I just think you get stronger as time goes on. But then I think it comes full circle again, doesn't it?
Just in terms of, I don't know, you mentioned it enough times now, so I'm going to ask on it. Do you feel, and I'll just turn my lamp on as I do. There we go. Nice. Do you feel, mid-sentence, I don't know, it sounds like your school and bits of your upbringing through school kind of put on you, hey, look, an idea of vocation, an idea of a certain life being given to you. I don't know, do you have you come to any reasoning on that, or
No. I don't practice any faith or anything like that. There's nothing. No, I'm not. No. I don't think there is.
So in certain way, that's good, because you still feel like the way you did back when you were 13. So you were vindicated in the end.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for being part of our group. And I don't know, should we finish on like what would be a piece of advice you'd give to siblings, any siblings that are watching now? Maybe they're part of the community, maybe they're not, maybe they're going through some stuff.
I just think, just try to remember that, you know, to cherish all the memories that you're making with your siblings. It's not all doom and gloom, you know. You have ups and you have downs, you know. I do, everybody does, but you just got to try and make the best of the rubbish situation that we're in, basically. So yeah, just say cherish it, cherish every moment.
Absolutely, and join our group. Yeah, they can chat with us.
Join the group
anytime. And yeah, thanks for being a part of the group, Lauren, and helping sort of move us forwards and everything.
No problem.
And thank you for a wonderful chat today, and just being so wonderfully positive. Honestly, more people can learn from you and your family. Seriously, it's been really nice to talk to someone who's got a positive outlook on this stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Lauren, and we'll catch you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.